Life is too short to be doing something that you hate or something you're forced to do. So find something you love and then do that, and then everything else will come with it. Live a life full of dignity with you and your surroundings, and that will help other people come together with the way you live.
Hi, baby, hop in the Lamborghini. I'm needy, on me only, I'm needy. Hi, baby, hop in the Lamborghini. Left for a minute, I did not sweat it. Look at the cash I'm spinning. There it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stroke of Success. Today's guest is a special guest. Let me go into history, my history. I was in Brooklyn, New York. I was in high school back in 1996, 97. I'm at my lunch, having lunch freshman year, FDR High School. And I turn around, these two girls are next to me, and they're just yapping away. And she goes, "Oh my God, look at this magazine I have in my hand." She goes, "Look at this guy." And in the words that she was using, the way she describing how she felt about this gentleman, it was got me uncomfortable. I turned around like, "Dude, seriously? You're in a public place here." And she goes, "This guy, the Calvin Klein model, this is the next big thing." And that was my introduction to Antonio Sabato Jr. Then I'm walking in New York City. I look up the billboard, and guess who I see in the underwears? The man. And then I saw him in the big hit Mark Wahlberg movie. Good job, by the way. I love that movie. Antonio, welcome to the show. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Before we start, I just want to show my shirt, to represent, FJB. You know what that means, right?
I don't. What is it?
We'll talk about that afterward.
Okay.
FJB. Anyways, so Antonio, let's get started, man. Talk to me about your history, man. How'd you get? Where were you born?
I was born in Rome, Italy, and then myself and my family moved to this country in 1985. We've been here ever since. It's been great.
Where'd you guys move to? What state?
We moved to California originally. Then I lived in New York for quite a while, and now I live in Florida.
Okay. So when did the whole modeling thing hit? How did it happen?
My modeling days were really with Calvin Klein. I was always an actor. I moved to this country and wanted to be an actor. That's all I wanted to do. My father was an actor, so it was always in the blood. And then through my career, I did some movies, and I was asked to do a campaign for Calvin Klein years later, and so I did 3 of them, which was fun back in the 90s. Yeah, so I've done all kinds of stuff, but acting is my passion. It's what I love to do. It's what I love to, yeah, it's everything for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, I'm telling you, man. I mean, these girls were talking about you like the Beatles walked in. I mean, it was annoying for us men. Me and my boys, we were like into modeling that time. We want to be a model like you. But we're stuck in our stomach in, and we're trying to do the poses like you, man. And we was like, dude, it's not working. We're not Antonio Sabato Jr., man. Just give it up, man. But dude, you're an OG from that time, and so anyways.
Oh, thank you, man.
So Calvin Klein must be huge, man. Like, tell me about the lifestyle, being a model, good-looking guy, 90s. I mean, was there a lot of partying going on, a lot of corruption, a lot of back sleeve stuff in the back scenes? As much as you can.
It was never my thing. I had my days, obviously, in my 20s and 30s and stuff, but for me, it was just constant working. I wanted to keep working in show business. And that's it. Everything else that comes with it is great. It's a compliment. It's beautiful, but I live a very humble life, very down to earth. My father always told me, and my parents always told me, this business is just like any other jobs. You do it as best as you can and move on. But there's never been a sense of fame or any of that sort of stuff, celebrity status for me. It was just, I took it as a compliment. It was a very humbling experience to be working and to be appreciated for your work. But I leave it behind. I go to work and I come back home, and I live a very down-to-earth life.
You always been very fit, Antonio, but your body, is it always from childhood growing up, or?
Well, yeah, it's the only body you got. You got to take care of your body, not because I'm a model or because I model. I'm not a model, but because I model for Calvin Klein, or it's just my fitness is important. It's a big part of my life to train constantly every day. I've always done it since I was a little boy. My father taught me, my mother taught me. They're very active. My father passed away, but still his later years of his life, oh, thank you. He was always very active. It's your body. God gave you one body and you got to take care of it. And it should be more than vanity. It should be more a sense of appreciating what you live in. And God gave you one body and you got to take care of it. You can't change it. So, and it's also psychologically for me to train hard every day. I need it. It's my medicine. I need to be in the gym. I need to kill it every day. I'm 51 years old and I'm still doing it because it's part of who I am, regardless of my job. You know, it's important to me to do it constantly. It just makes me a better person. And stress releaser. It's just a lot of things that your body needs it. Your body needs it.
Antonio, I was just going back to history, man. Like, let's go back for 1 second. So you came to California from Italy, and then you got into acting first, then modeling.
Yeah, I was acting. I was on General Hospital. I was
That's
doing
right.
movies. I was at the time there was a lot of movies of the week that I was doing.
Name a few. One was Wolverine. I love that. I love that movie.
Yeah, Wolverine, and we did If Looks Could Kill. That's
Yes.
another one. I did so many of them back in the day, and yeah, I just love making movies. I love being on sets, so I can never really walk away from it. Why would you want to? It's to have made as many. I used to remember when I was a teenager, I used to count the movies that I used to do, and then I lost count. So it means that I was doing something right, and now looking back, I'm still working. I'm still making films, and now I ventured into producing. I venture into directing. I venture into expanding, my horizon and doing things that I've always wanted to do with more experience. You can take a risk and go in that direction. But hopefully, as you get older, you get wiser.
You do.
Hope.
That's
You
true.
hope.
So General Hospital, like I'm sure soap operas pay in Hollywood world pay okay, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
they
movie,
but it's I know people in the soap world, especially in General Hospital, because it's one of the
the top one, longest
it's
lasting one.
yeah, it's been around for such a long time that those people have done that job and that's all they have done. And that's everything to them, to work one or twice a week. That's a constant job and people rely on that for everything. But for me, I need to venture into doing other things. I had the pleasure to work, motion pictures and TV movies and reality shows and soap operas and you name it. I've done it all. And I think that's for me, it's important to expand and do all kinds of different, sitcoms or do comedies or just to have the experience to have done it all is something I'm very proud of. But certainly soap operas are still there paying a lot of people, but now soaps are not even on regular channels. You got to stream them. The whole business is dramatically has changed. It's just the way, it is with time and new things will always come up. But at the end of the day, I think performing, acting, and that's never going to go away. That's just the beauty of the entertainment world. It's just getting
the art of it.
Yeah, the art of it is getting to there's different options, there's different avenues. There's just so much right now that we never had before, so it's kind of cool.
Many options.
Yeah.
I remember a music video of yours, Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
That's my time, man. Growing up, I remember you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was you, Tyson Beckford, a huge model at that time, but you were even crushing him. Tyson never got movies like you did or TV show like you did.
Well, I've always I have a passion, I've always enjoyed really being on movie sets. I really enjoy that part of it. It makes me a better person. When I'm not working on movie sets, I'm not the same person. It's just, I love doing it. It's just the same thing with racing. I love racing. So for me, being on a racetrack and racing cars, it's just, life is about finding those things that make you a better person, drive you to be a better human being. And acting does that for me. It's important. I teach that to my kids or anybody who's willing to ask, what would you want to do in life? And I said, well, go find something that you're passionate about, that you love doing, that is not a job, because life is too short to be doing something that you hate or something you're forced to do. So find something you love and then do that, and then everything else will come with it.
Talk to me about The Big Hit, one of my favorite movies. You did an amazing job. It was you, Mark Wahlberg, Christina Applegate. Good movie.
Yeah, big cast,
Big cast, big budget. John Woo, director?
Yeah, John Woo produced that film, and with Wesley Snipes actually, and yeah, it was a great experience to work with Mark, Lou Diamond Phillips, Bokeem Woodbine,
That's right.
Christina, everybody.
Yeah.
It was a different type of comedy. It was different, unique. You know, that movie was, you know, with the help of all of us, you know, we publicized the heck out of that film, and it was funny, and it was just a different type of film for that summer, the summer of '99.
Yes.
We were number one. That movie was number one in the country for a weekend in the summer, which is unheard of. You know, a movie that cost pretty much $12 million. It was
Nothing
the smallest
compared
budget
to
of that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we that was considered a small budget film for a studio, and we made our money back. But that was a good sign that we were doing something right.
Antonio, man, like it's hard for me to believe, man. You have a hit movie out Friday night, you know, the Vanity Fair magazines say you're a hit. Again, good looking as you are, man, there has to be some partying. There has to be girls. I mean, there has to be the fast life.
Yeah, no, I've had everything.
Sure.
I've been around amazing people, the biggest in the world, powerful people, you name it. I had my days. But like I said, you know, for me, it was more important than the partying and all that stuff, because, you know, I get up in the morning, I train every day. My lifestyle has to work around my schedule. I eat extremely well. I live a life that, you know, Hollywood, you know, going out at night and drinking and all that stuff and doing drugs, or being associated with people that do that kind of lifestyle is not for me. But, you know, I've seen it. I've been in the industry for, you know, almost 40 years. So I've seen it all, but it's not for me. It's detrimental.
Sure.
And, but, you know, I enjoy going to screenings or get-togethers or parties, or whatever you want to call it, when we're talking about projects and when we have a project that we're discussing, because it's so much more important to go to those places when you have something to talk about, you know,
Sure.
because in making movies, especially having a successful film of any kind, it's extremely difficult. It's like winning the lottery. You know, I have a film that is not even out yet. It's called Grace by Night. And this film won several awards. I got the best actor at the Christian Film Festival, International Christian Film Festival, which it was the biggest Christian film festival in the world. So I'm very passionate about this movie. I think it's one of my best performances and best film I ever been part of. So you never know. You never know what's around the corner. So I'm very excited about this, but it's that thing about doing something you love. Again, it's making a film is extremely difficult. It takes a lot of people working together. It needs to come out at the right time. There's just so many elements to make a successful film that it's very hard, you know. And so when I have something that is successful, like The Big Hit, or hopefully Grace by Night, which will come out this year, you gotta thank God, and you gotta thank you know, it's kind of like you gotta thank everybody, because it's extremely difficult. And I'm humble to know that I've been part of certain things like that, because like I said, it's winning the lottery, and nobody wins the lottery every time, you know?
I am a big film buff. I study. I've always wanted to be a screenwriter and director myself. So I'm never in the industry, but I keep up with it quite a bit.
Right.
And like you said, I agree with you. It depends the current, you know, situation with the country, economy, current event. The way the wind goes this way, the film can be the biggest hit. The actor can have an affair, can kill it. Okay, you make it bigger. Who knows, right?
Right.
So many things happen. How was it working with Mark Wahlberg? He's a conservative. I know you are, as I am. Right?
He's great. He's a great guy to work with. We had a great time. You know, we had a great summer working on this film and hanging out together and going to clubs and in Toronto. It was beautiful. We were just the entire cast was always out on weekends. It was summer. Everybody knew we were there. We did some great stuff together. So the camaraderie was amazing. And we didn't know how the movie was going to turn out, but it's a classic, and I'm honored to be part of it. And
you keep in touch with them?
I do. Sometimes I see them, you know, and we we see each other at events or things like that, and we're extremely happy for one another. And I've always, people remind me like, hey, listen, why don't you do a big hit too? Why don't you?
Yes, that
That'd
would be
be fun.
great.
That'd be fun. Yeah, if they want to do it, I'm ready. I'm ready to work with any of those guys. Mark was awesome to work with. He's an awesome guy. He's a great producer as well. And yeah, I love to work with them anytime. Yeah, for sure.
Antonio, and you were on top of the world, and then suddenly things started to change, right?
Mhm.
Things started to change, which is not uncommon in Hollywood.
No, it's the way it goes. It's up and down, You just that's where you got to keep your head strapped in and look forward and keep moving forward and try to survive in this world, And but the entertainment world is everybody's going for the same job, everybody's going after the same thing. It's extremely difficult to get work, but at the same time you can't give up, you just gotta go for it. But I'm
So
still,
like Mark, no, Mickey Rourke, another handsome guy. I mean, the most probably handsome guy in my opinion in Hollywood in a long time.
Yep.
Beautiful face, amazing acting, great body, and just suddenly hit the wall and bad decisions. And he made a comeback, huge comeback, Iron Man 2, and then again, he lost it again. Like the stories about him I hear, he's hard to work with on the set. I never heard about a story like about you. I never heard anyone.
No, you won't have a hard time with me when we said it's never going to happen.
I did a deep research.
But I know Mickey. I know Mick.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I hung out with him. He's a really good guy, and you never know what these people are going through in their own personal lives and
Mental health,
loss.
loss of a person.
Yeah, just acting in this world of show business could be very, very detrimental to people that are not essentially strong emotionally, because it's such an emotional ride, and then you're relying on so many aspects of this business, because it's show business. So there's the craft part of it, it's a performance, getting that done, and also there's the business aspect of it, having the right representation, the right agents, how you present yourself when you go out there, how you live your life when you leave a set, how you take care of yourself. There's a lot of things, and there's a lot of pressure. The world is not an easy place to live in. So you got to have a tough armor around you to sustain everything. But he's such a good actor, at the end of the day, that yeah, he's just he can bring it. So
yeah,
no matter what, if you can hire those people and know what they're capable of, then that's what it comes down to. But
sure.
As far as me, I have the biggest smile when I'm working on sets. I help everyone. I am constantly there before everyone and leaving the latest. I love movie sets. So for me, you're never gonna get any other version but the best version of them.
And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything negative about you, Antonio, and that's something.
I hope you don't.
I heard so give shout out to one of my best friend Omar. He's a huge fan of yours, and I was talking to him last night about it by preparing with him. He was like, "Dude, nothing. I can't find nothing about Antonio. He's one of my Brooklyn boys who looked up to you."
Yeah,
Antonio,
thank you.
like behind the scenes, like did you think you played the game, the political game, right? I mean, with people in Hollywood.
No, absolutely not.
You did not, right?
No, I didn't. And that's just my character. Sometimes, I'm 51 years old. So sometimes, and I'm Italian and I'm stubborn and I got my own ways and I have my own beliefs and I have my own ways of dealing with certain things. So I didn't quite play the game of the schmoozing and pretty much lying constantly just to satisfy the business, satisfy the agencies or the managers or whatever. And you have to do that if you want to stick around and be in that world. But if you have a disagreement or whatever, it's hard. So for me right now, I just tend to just focus on performing, doing my job, going to work, and everything else. I don't pay attention. But I know people that play the game. I know people that know how to play the game, and they're wonderful at it. And I give them so much credit, because for me, I can't be fake. I just can't. I got to be real. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you the truth. That I live by truth. I don't live by maybes or I'm going to make this up or I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, which is the truth. So at the end of the day, I sleep good at night.
That's my next point.
Speaking the truth from the heart.
You probably sleep really good at night. So the whole Me Too movement finally blew up. Some bad people went in. And some good people.
Yeah, but it's gone now. You see, it's a phase. This country, as the leader from everything else, because everything comes from here and then it's publicized all over the world.
Yeah.
First, you know, and we have the technology, we have the apps, we have the software, all that stuff comes from here, and then it's interesting, you know, because this business can throw you here, can throw you. That's what I mean. You gotta get back down to square one and go, who I am as a person, what kind of life I want to live, and just like a racing horse, just don't pay attention to everything else, because there's a lot of, you know, getting up in the morning and getting on your software, you know, getting on the Twitter, getting on that. It's extremely negative. It's like you have a nice dinner with your family, you go to sleep, you have a nice dream. As soon as you wake up, there's this sort of addiction to get back into the computer stuff. And the first thing you see is negative. There's nothing positive. The majority is just so to be in a positive state of mind, you got to stay away from that. And you got to be able to have something that guides you to be positive, because the majority of things that we see, that we hear on our phones, which is the fastest thing you can get so much information, is negative, you know. And later in my life right now, I just don't pay attention to any of that. If it's not something that's going to make my spirit better, then I just pass by, you know. I just don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah. Did you ever have people, you know, try to, you know, say, hey, spend a night with me? I know men and women in Hollywood do a lot of crazy stuff, and I'll get you this role. Recently was a movie situation. What was it? I forget. An actor came out and said it. Oh, the Joey Lawrence brothers. One of them said, hey,
Joey Lawrence?
Joey Lawrence was the Blossom guy, right? Actor?
Yep. Yeah, I work with,
his younger brother just came out recently and said, hey, the director came up to me, sleep with me, I'll get you a role in X-Men, next X-Men movie, whatever, one of the movies, Avengers. That ever happened to you, Antonio?
No. It's you hear those stories, and for me, it was like, it's just your persona. My persona, when I walk in the room, you already know what's up, and you're just, you know, if you're trying to scam or you're trying to do any of that stuff, it's just not going to go. I just put it out in a way that I was never confronted. You know, it would be kind of one of those things if somebody came up to me and says, you know what, Antonio, if you did this, I'll be like, it would be over. It'd be like, no, it ain't going to go that route with me. And it's never happened, because I guess that's how I portray myself. And
energy.
Yeah, the energy is there. And I think those people that walk in and they want to do those things to people in the business are, you know, the wolves, you know, of this business, are people attacking the weak. And there's nothing about me that is weak. I am just very, very strong emotionally. I'm very, very strong in every way. So for me, you're always going to be attacked if you're weak. If you put a sense of weakness, they're going to get to you. And I'm not saying that this guy was weak, but to be in that position, to be asked that, to be there, and you have to lead these guys. They have to. Wolves find the prey. You know, the wolf is not going to attack a tiger.
That's
right.
right.
It's just not. It's going to attack a sheep, and that's the thing. It's Hollywood is full. You know, you hear stories about people suing other people for things that happened years and years ago. Definitely. And then you find stories where women went inside a hotel room because the agent called them and said, you have an audition in a hotel room, and you go up there. And then we talk about rape and we talk about all these things. And I go, nobody forced you to go up there. And why would you, as a human being, as an actor, as a performer, go and meet somebody in a hotel room? I've never done that. I never will. That's not the way I work. It's not the way I want to work with people. I would never have anybody come and meet me in a hotel room for a job. So just common sense. It's just common sense about things. And I hear all these things that happen constantly. And that's because they're weak. And they're weak because fame is so powerful, my friend. You know, when they put something on the table, you're going to be a star. You're going to make money. If you do this, I'll give you this. You're not standing with your integrity. You're standing with the fact that money and fame and greed is the first thing. And it's not the first thing for me. It's not even the last. It's it's not even part of my life to live that way. I wouldn't sleep good at night. I just to have known that I've done something to get somewhere else, and that's the game.
That's
See,
the
that,
game.
again, you asked me before. That's the game,
buddy.
and it could be a small game, it could be a higher game, it could be your life dependent on it. I don't do that. If you don't hire me because of my talent or because you know who then we're not gonna work together.
Well, Antonio, I mean, by the way, Antonio, is it unheard of for producers and directors to, hey, come to my hotel and let's go over the script? Is that really unheard of? And you're from that's your world. I'm asking you.
Yeah, I never been approached by going to somebody's hotel. I just never have. There's certain meetings that I've had at somebody's home, but I knew the director. I knew the director already. We're having lunch. We're talking about a script. He's inviting me to show some stuff. I met with John Avildsen, the director of Rocky. He passed away. God bless his soul. I remember meeting him for certain projects, but that's different. You know, when a girl goes to somebody's hotel room and the guy opens the door, and we know we're talking, I don't want to mention names. This was all over the news, and he's in his bathrobe, and you're going to go walk in there not once, twice, and say the guy raped me twice. There's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So immensely wrong with that picture. Yeah. So that you know, it's the same thing with me. Like if I walked into a hotel room and I have a producer lady in a bathrobe, first of all, why would I go up there? Why would I agree to go and meet somebody? But let's say that happens to me, you know, and I go in and there's a lady there with bathrobe half naked and go, hey, come on in. I'll be like, I wouldn't put myself there in the first place. So it would be impossible for me to even knock on that door because I wouldn't have gone there.
Sure.
But a lot of people have done it, and the fame is a bad thing, you know. It's very powerful, very powerful.
Oh, Antonio, you tell me, money. It's a lot of money in Hollywood. You're a successful model actor. Now some of actors will live very large lifestyles and they run out of it, and then the next job, and they tend to sell their soul. Like for you, were you good with your money? And you know, I'm sure you made good amount of money over the years. Were you good at investing and earning it, or?
Yeah. I mean, I am still working, and I have other jobs, and I also went back to school, and I went into real estate. I went into construction. You got to be able to have other hobbies, other things that you can involve yourself with, because if you're not one of the few, and I mean one of the few that is lucky enough to work on a TV series all the time or to work on movies all the time, 1% of actors worldwide, is working as an actor to pay all the bills and living by acting alone. 1%. That is crazy numbers, you know, because you got to always, you know, I know a lot of actors that are not as fortunate that are relying on just acting, and you can't, because it's like you don't know when you're going to work again. You just don't know. And so as I got older, I got involved in other things, other businesses, other things that have nothing to do with acting, and that's important.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem a lot of time in Hollywood. They get into drugs and they get a divorce, they get someone pregnant and they have to pay that off and do this and that. And you know, and it's crazy, right? Tell me this, like, what any crazy story or any interesting story you want to share quickly? You know, I'm sure you have a bunch of them, but you know, without anyone's name, even share the name, but like one that you say, wow, you know, KB, this was like interesting.
I don't know. I just talk about meeting just great people. You know, I had the chance to work with amazing folks and in conversations with people like Robert De Niro and Tom Cruise, and meeting meeting Chuck Norris, talking to Jack Lemmon back in the day. I hung out with Jack Lemmon. He's one of the greatest actors of our time.
Of course.
I forget, but I met a lot of people and athletes, you know, hanging out with Michael Jordan one time in New York, me and him hanging out in this club. It was the best time. It was during the ESPYs, and I was presenting at the ESPYs, and he was getting an award, one of the many millions of awards he's received. And he was one of my favorite. He's the ultimate favorite of everyone.
And forever.
And I went to a club owner in New York, knew me, and he invited me and said, "You're on the house. I love your work. And I was like, oh, and I was there by myself. I was there for a couple of days in New York. So I said, why don't I just go hang out at this place? And I did. It was after the ESPYs. And then all of a sudden the owner comes up to me and says, hey, MJ's here. You want to hang out with him? And I'm like, yeah, I want to hang out with him. So I went over there, and he was one of the greatest guys, and we had a ball. And yeah, just stories like that, that I'll never forget. Racing, another thing. Michael Schumacher was one of my idols, 7-time world champion F1 driver. I hung out with him several times. I was a spokesperson for the Formula One Grand Prix in Indianapolis in 2001. And I also raced there in 2001 and 2002. So I was actually, no, I was a spokesperson for it in 2000. In 2001, I raced. In 2002, I raced again for the Porsche Cup. But meeting Michael was great. I love athletes. I just really do, because I'm an athlete myself. I've always played sports. I still do. I love watching sports. So I have an admiration for certain athletes, and I met them and I hung out with them, and that was the highest thing I ever done. Yeah, personally, it was amazing. Yeah.
Did you ever think as a kid from Italy that would be your life? Like, there's a thing called law of attraction, right? People say, well, I put my mind to it.
Yeah.
I pray to God and manifest my reality. Well, did you ever think you talk to Tom Cruise, work with Mark Wahlberg, chilling with Jordan?
No. I came to this country and I didn't speak the language. So one of the and I was a teenager. So I went to ESL classes. I went to those every day after school, because I couldn't speak. I didn't know how to speak to anybody. And but one of the things that I've learned from Sidney Poitier at a young age as a teenager, because I remember this actor was doing. I learned to go watch movies and to speak the language by watching film. So, and I watch a lot of Tom Cruise movies. So Top Gun, the first one, was one of my best favorite movie of all time. So I watched that movie in the theaters as a teenager over and over again. And I was starting my acting career, and I wanted to meet this guy and tell him what he's done for me. And I did. So that was cool. And I met Tom a few times, and I told him how I felt, and he was very respectful, very kind, and hopefully we'll work together someday. But yeah, I never forget. I always keep, he's done a lot for me. He didn't know he was doing it, but there's certain actors that I had the chance, like De Niro, and people that I told them what they've done for me in my career, and they really appreciated it.
That's amazing. I heard Tom Cruise is like, when he talks to you, nothing else matters. His eyes locked on you. That's it.
Yeah, he's very
charming.
Yeah, he's very into. He gives you 100% of himself when he's talking to you, and I learned that too. I believe it 100%. When you're doing something, focus on what you're doing and give your whole attention so you can really pay attention. Maybe it has something to do with his dyslexia, because he's got to concentrate even harder to really listen and understand what's going on. So, but he's a very intense guy, and but there's so many. Shirley MacLaine was another one that I had the chance to meet.
Wow.
The classic ones.
OGs, man, the GOATs.
The list goes on. I forget how many people I've met and worked with. Robert Wagner, another one I did a movie with. He's
Heart to Heart.
RJ. Awesome guy.
Good-looking guy too. Very charming guy.
Yeah, very charming guy.
A lot of charisma. Antonio, man, like, I know that you were working until recently in this whole thing with the president of the United States, number 45, right? Let's talk about it. Donald Trump, right? You started to voice your opinion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that the biggest turning point you saw in your career? I know Hollywood loves liberalism. They love liberals. They love a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood is full of a lot of, but yeah, when you express your opinion politically, you're just going to have the good and the bad all at once. And the political world is a very disgusting world from both parties. That's why I'm an independent. I don't vote for Republicans, and I don't vote for Democrats. Actually, if it was up to me, I wouldn't vote for neither. Yeah. But it's a disgusting place. And, I ran for a government office position in California for Congress of the United States of America. I had the chance to run for 2 years and learn as much as I could about the political world, about how Washington works, how California politics work, and it's disgusting. It's a very dark place, and I am extremely fortunate not to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't have anything political in my life. I don't promote anybody politically. And I have nothing to do with that world because I've seen it and I know about it, and it's not good. What is good is the American people. What is great is the country as a unity, what it stands for, our flag, our military. There's just a lot of great things about our country, but the politics, no,
bad.
they're very bad. They're extremely bad.
What's more scarier? Scary meaning the words like, like, man, people are out to get you. Hollywood or politics, in your opinion? You did both.
I've been asked that question before. It's funny now. That's a good question. It's I don't know. They're both equally dangerous, and they're both equally powerful, and they're both equally the same, I think, because the reach is enormous, and the voices are enormous. So you can actually balance it out on a good day. They're probably equal. So yeah, it's and I don't know why Hollywood should be so political, but it is.
I don't know why.
More than ever. I mean, in the past, you would be able to have conversations with an opposition or not an argument. Actually, no, not even. In our business, we used to be able to have conversations about specific things in the political world. Nevertheless, political conversations are always bad, no matter what, because it's just awful at some point. But at least you used to have debates. You used to have debates, and you used to have some sort of conversations. Now it's not the same. If you bring Trump and Hollywood, it's over. If you bring conservatism or God into certain type of conversations in Hollywood, it's over. So you gotta have to watch your mouth a little bit and know who you're talking to, because people are being very personal about this. It's affecting their way of life, whether they're for this political party or whether they're this. Things have changed dramatically, and they're very negative. So I say don't discuss it. Talk about
Antonio is crazy. Like, so I'm born and raised Brooklyn, New York. Like, Trump was our guy. He was the OG. He's the playboy. He's the Howard Stern guy.
Yeah,
it's interesting. He was a Hollywood guy. He did some movies, Home Alone. He did Wall Street. He dated actresses. And as soon as he ran for Republican office, it's like they went after him. Like, I get it. Look, I get it. Some stuff he says are not the best. I agree. Not the best 100% person, but he spoke the truth, right? Better than this guy. This guy, fuck Joe Biden.
Anybody that speaks the truth against the system, my friend, anybody that speaks the truth will get attacked, because the truth is very dangerous for certain people. This world is run by very powerful people who only care about more power, and they don't care about human beings, and they don't care about anything else but power.
Sure.
So, and they will run it, and they will disintegrate everyone else that stands in their way. And truth is one of those things. That's why they have the media to change the truth into lies, because that's how they control the people. And then after that, they control the government. They controls the people and puts laws out there to restrain people from doing what they really want. But in the same token, they're keeping everybody safe to a certain degree to say, well, we'll do this so you can be okay, but everything else, maybe not. It's a balance act. Whereas if you had politicians who actually did their job, like Abraham Lincoln, who was a regular dude saying, I want to help the American folks. But those days are over, because politicians make money. They make a lot of money, and they sell books, and they hang out with celebrities. And so it becomes like, it's a party thing, and so and if you stay with this belief, with this party, you'll be okay. But if you are a conservative in Hollywood, you're only going to do B movies for the most part, or Christian-based films, if you're lucky. So, and it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be like that.
No, and I hope that times will change, and bring us together, because I think at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. No party or no one has all the right answers.
No one does.
But if you put everything on the table and you see what makes sense, but you see, they don't want to. They trust. There's certain people in Hollywood that they trust their government for everything. And they trust those politicians for everything, where I know these politicians are scums. They're very bad people, especially for their constituents and their neighborhoods and their states that they're supposed to represent. But I think most people are not educated enough or have seen enough with their own eyes to believe certain things. So they rather believe the hype, because it's a lot easier to believe the hype than the truth.
I agree with you. That's a really good point, man. But Reagan was Republican. Reagan was an actor, became president. Dude, he's Stallone. Stallone he's conservative. Mark Wahlberg is a conservative. He left California.
But they don't talk about politics. You
That's
see,
the thing.
I actually talked about it, and people could say it was a mistake. Whatever, I did it. It's my
You regret
past.
it, Antonio? Regret it?
I don't live in regrets, my friends. I don't even use that word. It is what it is. I did it and move on. Regret is one of those words you want to delete, destroy, because regret, just the word regret brings you down. Like saying regret.
Energy comes down.
See, no, I don't live in regret. I did, and then I move on. But talking about Mark and these people in Slide, they don't talk politics. You know they're conservatives because I guess they mention certain things, but not political. Because if you are political, you're dealing with an avalanche of attacks, and plus you're going to lose work. You're going to lose a lot of work, and it's so for me, it's been long enough. I don't talk about it. I stay away from it. But you gotta be able to stand strong if you do talk.
Dude, I'm sure you know this actor, Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo, yep.
Dude, amazing actor, good job. Hercules, childhood hero for all of us. For me, at least, I'm 41.
Yeah.
Like same thing, very similar to your situation, man.
He's got his beliefs, and he's very political in the way he talks, and he's fine with it, and he's not going to change, and we should have the right to speak and be free about certain things. But like I said, Hollywood is very strict on their own ways. So you got to understand that it's like dealing with a spoiled child.
Sure.
And so it's tough, and I moved to Florida, and now all of a sudden everybody's coming. All these actors are coming to Florida, and they're moving out because California is not the same anymore. But I already moved out here years ago before everybody else. I talking about Kevin, I was the first one to talk the politics, the Trump thing. I was the first one to go on TV, and everybody's still doing it. I just choose to walk away from it because what are you going to do? You're going to talk politics every day. You're going to fight every day. You're going to argue every day. And for what? You're not going to change Washington.
No, you're not.
You're not going to change whoever is going to be the president.
Sure.
You're not going to change anything at all, period. Sure. All you're going to do is create more mess or more hype for you if that's what you're trying to, if that is your scheme, if that is what you're trying to do, stick to it. But at the end of the day, you're not going to, listen, the border is open. Homelessness in California is over. I mean, it's more than ever in the history of our country. People are sleeping on the streets. And I'm not talking about the drugs, the infestation of child trafficking, and you name it. Okay. So you understand what I'm saying? I say to people, if you want to fight for something, if you want to live a life that is full of dignity. Live a life full of dignity with you and your surroundings, and that will help other people come together with the way you live.
Sure.
But going out of your hand to prove a point against people that will never change, ever, unless they change on their own, which is something that either God is going to do, or they're going to do it on their own. Yeah. And so, and no people can change anybody else. That's why people never change. And countries never really change. I mean, like the poverty in Africa is still the poverty in Africa, right? The poverty in certain parts of the world is still poverty, and there's nothing. And we're spending 180 to 100 or 200 billion dollars for homelessness in California alone. But there's more people living on the streets. If you go to Venice Beach right now and see the tents of people sleeping on the beach, that's because it's allowed by the government. By the California local government is allowing that to happen. So you can't fight a system that is willing to have that system for their own selfish reasons, because that's what they do. That's the political world. I'm telling you, it's a nasty place.
It is. You're right, Antonio. You're right. The only thing we can do is pray. Antonio, before I let you go quickly, one thing I do for all my guests is for my viewers and listeners, I go to what's your daily routine, man? People wake up. Some people 5 a.m. they do read the Bible, the Quran, the Torah. People do
Yeah.
gratitude list. Some do visualization. What's your routine?
Yeah, I tend to give everything the night before that tomorrow is going to be like this, and I have a plan of things that I'm going to do. You know, my training in the morning, the way I'm going to eat, the way I'm going to do my jobs, which is several different jobs or meetings or whatever. It's all scheduled. My kids and my family, my fiance, everything is set into a certain type of schedule that is done the night before. But certain things never change. You know, the way I eat, the way I train, it's like military. You know what I mean? Like I get up at crack of dawn and I do it 7 days a week, all the time. And I've done it for so many years that and I've done all kinds of training and all kinds of diets, all kinds of things. But for me right now, I found a certain way that works for me. I eat a lot of meat. I'm more of a carnivore diet guy than anything. Meat is important to me. I can't live without it. So I didn't do that back in the day, but I do it now because my health is so much better because of it. So things have changed, but I think I train smarter now. And you know, you got to prevent bad things happening. So you got to make sure that today is your best day and you feel the healthiest. And that means eating right, having less stress, being able to sleep, being able to have a comfortable life with your significant other. You know, stress is such and mental stress and all that could be detrimental. And I see it too often. And I think that training your body, living a healthy lifestyle will change that, will make you a better person.
I agree with you. Quickly before we get out of here, thank you, Antonio. Quick shout out to my sister-in-law. She has a huge crush on you.
Thank you. What's her name?
This morning, Samita.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And my best friend Omar, he's
Omar.
so they were talking. Please make sure I let you know.
Yeah, thank you, Omar. Thank you.
You're an entrepreneur, man. God bless you. We'll talk about that. We'll do a part 2, face to face. I'm gonna come see you, man. We'll just sit down and do a face to face, talk some business, you know. And dude, you're a hero.
Where are you? Where do you live now?
I'm in Orlando.
You're in Orlando. Okay.
I'm 2 hours away from you, man. You ever come? Let's do dinner, man. Let's have some dinner.
Well, we were there for the Christian Film Festival, which was held in Orlando. I wish I would have known you then, but there's other things that come up there, and definitely let's stay in touch. Yeah. And we'll meet face to face in Orlando. That'd be great.
Let's do it, man. Antonio, God bless you, man.
Thank you. God bless you too.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye.